Imagine this. 5 years after burying an empty coffin and crying over a flag-draped one, Emma opens her front door on a quiet Tuesday morning and stares straight into the eyes of the man the whole world swore was dead. Her first husband, alive, smiling like nothing happened, with a new wife on his arm and 2 kids calling him daddy. What would you do? Stick around because this isn't just a story. This is betrayal so deep it'll make your blood boil and revenge so cold it'll freeze your screen. Let's begin. Emma Hargrove was 24 when she met James Harrington at a charity gala in downtown London. He was charming, ambitious, worked in international logistics, tall with dark hair and that easy laugh that made everyone lean in. She was a primary school teacher with a heart bigger than her paycheck. They fell hard and fast. 6 months later, they were married in a small garden ceremony in the Cotswolds. Everyone said they were perfect. For the first 3 years they were. James traveled a lot for work, weeks in Dubai, months in Southeast Asia. Emma hated the long absences but loved the life they were building. The little terrace house in Surrey with the white fence, the dog named Max, the baby they were trying for. Then came the phone call that shattered everything. Mrs. Harrington? This is the British Embassy in Bangkok. I'm sorry to inform you, your husband was killed in a car accident on Highway 4. The vehicle caught fire. Identification was difficult, but dental records and personal effects confirm it's him. Emma dropped the phone. She screamed until her throat bled. The funeral was packed. James's company sent flowers the size of small cars. His boss gave a tearful speech about duty and sacrifice. Emma wore black for a year. She kept his side of the bed untouched. She talked to his photo every night like he could still hear her. I miss you, James. Come back to me. But he never did. Or so she thought. 2 years after the funeral, Emma met Thomas. Gentle, steady Thomas. A widower himself with a 9-year-old daughter named Lily. He didn't sweep her off her feet. He simply held her when she cried and made her believe life could be soft again. They married quietly on their 3rd anniversary of dating. Nothing flashy. Just close family, a backyard in Surrey, and hope. Emma finally felt like she could breathe without pain. Lily started calling her mum. They even started trying for another baby. Life moved forward, until that Tuesday morning. Emma was in the kitchen making pancakes when the doorbell rang. She wiped her hands on her apron, humming. She opened the door. And the world stopped. James stood there. Same face. Same scar above his left eyebrow. A little thinner, a little tanner, but unmistakably him. Behind him a pretty Thai woman in her 30s, holding the hand of a 5-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl. Emma's knees buckled. She grabbed the doorframe. James? He smiled that same crooked smile. Hey love, miss me? The words hung in the air like smoke. Emma couldn't speak. Her mouth opened but nothing came out. The little boy tugged his father's hand. Daddy, who's this lady? James looked down at the child with love, real love, then back at Emma. This is an old friend, buddy. Emma's voice finally cracked through. Old friend? You were my husband. They told me you were dead. I buried you. Thomas came running from the living room, still in his pajamas. Emma, what's... He froze when he saw James. James's eyes narrowed at Thomas's wedding ring. Well, looks like somebody moved on quick. Thomas stepped forward, protective. Who the hell are you? I'm the man whose wife you stole, James said calmly. Though technically I guess I'm still legally her husband, since I never died. The Thai woman behind him looked confused but stayed silent, sensing the storm. Emma's hands started shaking. Get off my property. James tilted his head. Our property, technically. Half of everything is still mine. Unless you want to explain to a judge why you remarried while I was still breathing." He pulled out a folded document from his jacket, a death certificate with a red stamp. Revoked. "I can explain everything," he said softly. "But maybe inside?" "The kids are tired from the flight." Emma wanted to slam the door in his face, but the little girl was staring up at her with big, innocent eyes. So she stepped aside, numb. They sat in the living room that Emma and Thomas had built together. Family photos on the wall, Lily's drawings. James looked around like he owned the place. "Nice setup," he said. "You did good, Emma." Thomas's jaw was tight. "Start talking." Now. James leaned back, completely relaxed. 5 years ago I got in deep with some very bad people in Thailand. Drug runners who used my logistics company as cover. They wanted me to move product. I said no. They threatened to kill me. And you, Emma, they showed me photos of our house. Of you sleeping. Emma's eyes widened. So I did what I had to do. I staged the accident. Paid off officials. Got new papers under a new name. Started over in a small village up north. Met Priya here. We built a life. 2 beautiful kids. I thought you'd be taken care of by the insurance. I thought you'd move on. But not this fast. Priya spoke for the first time, her English careful. "I did not know about you. James told me he was a widower." Emma laughed, but it was a broken sound. "Widower? He left me to rot in grief while he played house with you." The anger was rising now, hot, blinding anger. James sighed. "I came back because the threats are gone. The gang got busted last year. I want my life back, Emma, my wife, my house, my share of everything." Thomas stood up. "You're insane. She's my wife now. Legally?" James smirked. "Bigamy is still a crime here, mate. And insurance fraud on my part, well, that's between me and the company. But the marriage? That never ended." He looked at Emma with those same eyes that once promised forever. "We can fix this. Quietly. You divorce him, we remarry. I'll be generous with the settlement. The kids can visit. Everybody wins." Emma felt like she was going to throw up. Lily walked into the room then, rubbing her eyes. "Mummy, what's wrong?" The little Thai boy pointed at Lily. "Is she my sister now?" That was the moment something inside Emma snapped. She stood up slowly, voice ice cold. "Get out." James smiled sadly. "Think about it, Emma. You have 48 hours before I file papers. I still love you, you know. Always have." He gathered his new family and left. The door closed. Emma collapsed on the sofa, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. Thomas held her, but she could feel him trembling too. "How could he do this to me?" she whispered. "I almost died when they told me he was gone. I wanted to die. And he was out there, living." Thomas kissed her hair. "We'll fight this. Lawyers. Everything." But Emma wasn't thinking about lawyers anymore. She was thinking about revenge. The next 48 hours were hell. James's lawyer sent formal letters. The insurance company wanted their money back. Over £800,000 Emma had used to pay off the house and start a college fund for Lily. James's new wife Priya started posting on social media about reunited families and second chances from God. The comments were vicious. Some people called Emma a bigamist. Others called James a hero who faked death to protect his first wife. Emma barely slept. She stared at old wedding photos at 3 a.m., tears streaming. The man she mourned for years had betrayed her in the worst way possible. But something else was happening too. She started digging. Quietly. Methodically. She hired a private investigator who specialized in overseas records. What she found made her blood run colder. James hadn't just faked his death to escape danger. He had stolen nearly £2 million from his company before he disappeared, laundered it through shell companies, used some to set up his new life in Thailand. The car accident? He had paid a local drunk to drive his car off the cliff and burn. The dental records? Bought from a corrupt morgue worker. And the threats? They were real, but James had been working with the gang for over a year before he decided to run. He wasn't a victim. He was a willing participant who got scared when things got too hot. Emma printed everything, put it in a folder marked Truth. She didn't tell Thomas yet. This was her war now. On the 47th hour, James showed up again, alone this time. He knocked softly. Emma let him in. He looked around. "Where's the new guy?" "Out with Lily," she said quietly. "We need to talk. Just us." James sat down, hopeful. "You've come to your senses?" Emma poured 2 glasses of whiskey, handed him one. "I loved you, James. More than anything. When they said you were dead, I wanted to crawl into that coffin with you." He reached for her hand. She let him take it. "I know, love. I hated leaving you. But I had no choice." Emma looked into his eyes. "No choice? You had a choice every single day for 5 years. You could have sent word. You could have divorced me from afar. But you let me grieve. You let me almost kill myself with pain, while you were raising children with another woman." Her voice never rose. It stayed soft. Dangerous. James shifted uncomfortably. "Emma," she pulled her hand away. "I know about the 2 million, James. I know about the gang. I know the drunk driver you paid £5,000 to die in your place. I know everything." His face went white. She slid the folder across the table. "Insurance company, serious fraud office, Thai authorities. They all get copies tomorrow unless you do exactly what I say." James's hands started shaking. "You wouldn't. I would," she said. "And I'll enjoy it." She stood up and walked to the window. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign divorce papers, backdated. You're going to sign over the entire house, every asset, every penny of that insurance money to me. You're going to confess to the insurance company in writing and pay them back every cent from your hidden accounts. You're going to tell Priya the truth and let her decide if she stays with a liar and a thief. And you're going to disappear again. This time for good." James laughed bitterly. "Or what? You'll destroy me?" Emma turned around. Her eyes were dead calm. "No, James. I'll do something much worse. I'll make sure the whole world knows exactly who you are. And then I'll live my beautiful life while you rot in prison. Your choice." He stared at her for a long time. The woman he once knew was gone. This Emma was forged in 5 years of grief and 1 morning of pure rage. He signed the papers that night. All of them. 3 months later, Emma stood in the same living room, now legally and completely hers. Thomas and Lily were baking biscuits in the kitchen. The divorce was finalized. The insurance company dropped all claims after James's full confession. He was under investigation in Thailand. Priya had left him and taken the children back to her village. But the victory didn't feel like fireworks. Not at first. In the weeks that followed, Emma's emotional recovery began as a slow, painful unraveling. Mornings, she would wake up reaching for the side of the bed that had stayed empty for years. Then remember, it was truly over. The grief she had carried like a second skin cracked open. She cried in the shower until the water ran cold, not for James anymore, but for the girl she used to be. The one who believed in forever. Nights were the hardest. She would sit on the terrace with a cup of tea gone cold, staring at the stars, whispering the questions that haunted her. Why wasn't I enough to come back for? Why did you choose lies over me? The anger still burned, but it no longer consumed her. It transformed into a quiet strength. Thomas gave her space but never left her side. He would find her in the garden at dawn, pulling weeds with furious hands, and simply sit beside her until the tears came. Lily, wise beyond her years, drew pictures of their family: Emma, Thomas, herself, Max the dog, and wrote at the bottom in wobbly letters, "We are safe now, Mummy." Those small moments stitched Emma back together. She started seeing a therapist in London, a kind woman who helped her name the layers of betrayal, the grief, the rage, the shame of having been fooled so completely. Session after session, Emma spoke the truth out loud until it lost its power over her. She learned that healing wasn't forgetting. It was refusing to let the past steal another sunrise. She returned to teaching part-time, surrounding herself with children's laughter and innocent drawings. Every time a little voice called her Mrs. Hargrove again, it reminded her she had rebuilt her identity without him. Weekends she took long walks in the Surrey hills with Thomas and Lily, breathing in the fresh air as if she could inhale freedom itself. The weight on her chest lightened. Colors seemed brighter. She laughed again, real, belly-deep laughs that surprised even her. One evening as the sun dipped low, she stood in the kitchen watching Thomas and Lily dance silly to an old song on the radio and realized something profound. She was no longer the widow. She was no longer the betrayed wife. She was Emma, whole, loved, and finally free. The revenge had given her justice, but this quiet recovery gave her peace. She planted roses in the garden where she once cried alone. She redecorated the bedroom, painting walls soft sage green and filling it with light. She even started a small journal, writing letters to her younger self. "You survived the worst lie. Now live the most beautiful truth." The nightmares faded. The what-ifs grew silent. In their place came gratitude for Thomas's steady love and Lily's pure affection. Emma discovered strength she never knew she possessed, the kind born from ashes. Emma picked up her phone and opened Instagram. James had posted one last time from some cheap motel, a photo of his empty hands. Caption: "Sometimes the dead stay dead for a reason." Emma smiled. Not a happy smile, a satisfied one. She turned to the camera she had set up for this exact moment. Because this story wasn't over. She looked straight into the lens. If you're watching this, and you've ever been betrayed by someone you loved more than life itself, know this. Pain changes you. Grief changes you. But you get to decide what you become on the other side. She paused. "I became the woman who buried her husband twice. Once with tears, once with truth. And then I rose stronger, softer, and finally at peace." She leaned closer. "And I slept like a baby both times." The screen fades to black. Text appears. "Never let them steal your peace." Emma's voice returns softly. "If this story touched you, if it made you angry, if it made you believe in justice again, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear that revenge doesn't always mean violence. Sometimes it just means refusing to stay broken and choosing to heal instead." She smiles gently now. Subscribe for more real stories of betrayal and comeback. Drop your own story in the comments. I read every single one. Tell me, what would you have done if your dead husband showed up with a new family? And how did you find your way back to yourself? She blows a kiss. See you in the next one. Stay strong. The video ends. But the story? It lives forever in the hearts of everyone who ever loved someone who didn't deserve it. And somewhere across the ocean, James Harrington wakes up every night to the sound of a doorbell that isn't there, wondering if the woman he destroyed is still thinking about him. She isn't. She's too busy living, healing, and loving the life she reclaimed. The end. but your story might be just beginning. Comment below, subscribe, and remember, the best revenge is the life they can only watch from the outside while you bloom again. We'll see you soon.